Hi, I'm Kate and welcome to today's episode of Take What You Need. So today's episode is going to be all about all things manifestation. Now, if you're here already, you probably already know a little bit about manifestation. I'm going to take you through the basics of the checklist of things to be doing when you're just doing your basic manifesting routine. And then towards the end of this episode, I'm going to give you my 3 top tips to speed that manifestation up and really bring it into your reality a lot quicker. These really work if you've been trying to manifest the same thing for quite a while and you're kind of sick and bored and tired of visualizing and thinking of it all the time and you just want to call it into your life. So make sure you hang around at the end to see that. Before we begin, let's really make ourselves present. Put your hands on your heart, close your eyes. Take a really big inhale in through your nose. Hold at the top and then exhale nice and slowly out through your mouth. Do that one more time. Inhale in through your nose and then exhale slowly out through your mouth. And open your eyes. Okay, hi. Welcome to the episode. As with all my episodes, remember, take what you need, leave the rest. Okay, so let's begin. So, manifestation, the basics. Okay, so you'll have heard loads about manifestation. It's such a popular topic right now. And rightly so, because why wouldn't you want to get what you want in life, right? I manifested doing these episodes. So, something actualized right here, you know? So, as with all things manifestation, you need to know what you want before you begin. That's the number one rule of this basic section of manifestation. What do you want to call into your life? Now, there's probably loads of things in different areas of your life right now that you're like, well, I'd love more money. I'd love to have thicker, longer hair. I'd love to have clearer skin. I'd love to call in love. What I found with manifestation is kind of stick to 1 or 2 really big things that you want to call in. Because like with all things, if you spread yourself a bit too thin and keep asking for different things all at the same time, the universe gets a little bit confused and doesn't know which one to prioritize first. So it can end up being a little bit muddled in what it gives you back. So I find that at the absolute basic fundamental principles of manifestation, pick 1 or 2 really clear manifestations in your life that you want to call in. So that could be, I would like to be wealthy, whatever that means to you. I would like to call in a healthy and reciprocated relationship. Stick to 1 or 2 of those, not a whole myriad of things, because we want to be focused. We want to call that in and we want to focus our energy and the energy of manifestation directly onto those things and it not be spread too thin. So once you've identified the 1 or 2 things that are really, really important for you to call in, then you're going to need to write them down really, really specifically. So when we say, I want to be rich, what does that even mean? You know, this is just an example, but rich in what? Rich in social connections, rich in finances, rich in wealth, rich in health, rich in friendship. What does that mean? So we need to be really, really clear about what we're asking for. So let's take the example of being rich. It could be that you write down something that's like, I would like to have X amount in my bank account by November 2025. Or it could be, I would like to call in a healthy, reciprocal, safe relationship where my partner is XYZ, all these elements, and I feel like this in the relationship, you know? So I feel safe, I feel secure, I feel loved, I feel cherished, all things like that. So you're getting towards the feeling. The same goes with the wealthy one as well. So I want to have X amount of money, specifically right amount of money in my bank account by this date. The feeling that will give me is safety, security. I will feel able to be generous, things like that, like really, really specific thoughts and feelings of what that manifestation will generate from you in terms of energy. So once you've done that, then you're really, really clear on what your manifestation is and in which area of your life. So there's a few ways then that you can start to call that in, which are all pretty basic and I'm sure you've heard of. So I'll rattle through them now. So the first one is around scripting. So kind of like we wrote out the statement at the beginning of what we want to call in, specifically what we want to call in. Then we're going to get really detailed in this scripting practice of a typical Tuesday in your life when you have this manifestation. So when you have the relationship, from the moment your eyes open in the morning, what do you see? What do you feel? What can you smell? How does the air temperature feel on your body? Where are you in the world? Who is in bed with you? What does your morning routine look like? How do you walk? How do you dress? How do you show up? How do you interact with people? What kind of career do you have? What kind of social occasions are you attending on that Tuesday? What is the state inside your body? And what we're building here in this scripting practice is a really, really clear picture of the feeling. So you can really generate and call upon that feeling of having that manifestation on a really boring day like a Tuesday, not on like a Saturday night when you're going out to a random party and it's not usual for you. We're talking like a mundane Tuesday in a February, that sort of vibe. And you want to script it as specifically as humanly possible and using all of your senses for that. So script about how the coffee smells and tastes, script about the conversations that you have, script about how like literally the sunlight feels on your face when you've opened the curtains or the blinds. Be really, really specific and create such a vivid picture in your mind that your brain starts to recognize that as real. Because ultimately, when it comes to magnetism and manifestation and neural pathways, your brain doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is fake. So we can fake it till we make it on this occasion. So making sure that that scripted visualization is so unbelievably real and rich in detail that you can physically feel the change in your body and how you want to show up as that version of you that's got that manifestation, your brain doesn't know the difference anymore. And then you're going to make yourself become aware of that feeling once you've done the scripting. Okay, so that feeling is what you can tap into in your meditations when you're trying to magnetize in your manifestation. You can bring up that feeling again. And if you're struggling to bring it up, you can read back over the scripting process that you've done. And you can look at it, memorize it, read it every morning, read it every night, and keep calling in that feeling, because the more your body gets used to the feeling, the more it magnetizes it in and the more normal that it becomes. So we're going to move through the world with the embodiment of that feeling with a view that we already have this manifestation. It is done. It is coming to us. It's not an excitement or an anticipation of I am manifesting and it will come to me. It is done. It's just a matter of time. All you need to do is keep embodying that feeling and just let time unfold in front of you, and that manifestation will come to you. Okay? So we've talked being really clear and specific on what we want. We've talked about scripting in extreme detail to the point of being obnoxious with your details. And then we've talked about embodying that energy. And they are essentially the basics for manifestation. But I hear loads of people say, well, I've written it down and I've done my affirmations and I'm trying to embody it and I keep saying that it's done, but it's just not happening for me. I don't think manifestation works. And I'm like, oh, guys and gals, it can work. Okay, it can work. So there's a few things here, my 3 top tips of what I would give to speed up that manifestation and make it happen. And the third one is my absolute favorite that has absolutely game changed how I manifest over the last, I would say, 6 months, really. So the first one is being absolutely delusional in your manifestation. Okay, so if people are telling you need to be more realistic, you are on the right track. I promise you. Like, think of it like this. You're trying to call in more balance in your life, which is lovely. Great. We love that. Okay, really realistic. I just like more balance, more time to myself, good work-life balance, good amount of money. Love to call in more balance. Okay, not gonna lie, a little bit underwhelming. What about if we called in thriving? Are we really aiming high enough? Because balance sounds to me that you've just put a cap on what you want to call in, that you called in what you think you deserve, you think you can maybe get if you ask nicely. No. We're all about being delusional, being audacious. Let's ask for what we really want, which, let's face it, is to thrive, is for the money, is for the relationship, is for the dream life. Stop playing small, okay? This is your opportunity to ask for what you want, so ask it. And stop limiting yourself because you believe you don't deserve that dream life of yours, because you do. I promise you, you do. So think big and be delusional. Okay, the second one I don't hear talked about very often, but has really, really worked for me. So the second kind of, I suppose, acceleratory tip for manifesting is actually the element of surprise. So the way you are right now and the habits you have and the person you are is not the same person that embodies that manifestation that you've scripted, that dream that you want for yourself. The person you are today and that person you are calling in are not the same. They do not have the same habits. They do not have the same thought processes. They do not go to the same coffee shops. They do not walk the same walks, okay? So one of the weirdest things I worked out that could call in a manifestation quicker was actually keeping the universe on its toes. And that required the element of surprise. So say I walk my dog twice a day. There's many routes I could take, but honestly, I was kind of taking a version of the same two routes each day, almost on autopilot, which is nice for my dog. He knows where he's going. Nice for me because I don't have to think about where we're going. But I actually started to switch it up. I started going down streets that I didn't usually go on. I started seeing different houses and different places. I started going to different parks. I started interacting with different people because I was starting to call in this manifestation with the element of surprise. And the people I were bumping into were coincidentally weirdly linked or talking to me about the subject of my manifestations. But I would only have met them if I'd have actually chosen to change to go onto those streets rather than taking my normal route. This applies to everything in your life. So it could be your morning routine, shake it up a bit. The way you drive to work, take a different route, see where it takes you. The people you socialise with, maybe that's a bit stagnant. Go and find a new social group, go and interact with some different people. Put yourself out there, try a different sports club. You love tennis, try paddle. You love reading books at home, go and join a book club. You love crafting, go and find a local craft store that maybe has some clubs on or some interactions at night. You really like knowledge, go and find a pub quiz, ask some of your friends, do something different. Say you sit in every night after work and it's just you, your dog, this is literally my evening, just having your tea. In British Northern, tea is your dinner. You wash up, you read, you go to bed, you wake up again, you go to work, rinse and repeat. Do something different. Make the universe be surprised. Make it change its direction. Make it change its speed. Do something different. So maybe I finish work and I decide, actually, I'm going to go and have a drink with a friend. Or actually, there's a reading group, I'm going to go and read with this group. Or actually, I'm going to go to the cinema for a change. Or I'm going to go and meet a friend. Or I'm going to walk my dog and take him a different way tonight. Things like that. Keep the universe on its toes. Firstly, it works. Secondly, it's actually fun to get out of your routine and kind of exhilarating sometimes. Okay, the third and final tip for accelerating your manifestation. This is my absolute favourite. And I feel like you're going to feel like it's a little bit mundane, but trust me, this is the biggest thing you can do to call your manifestation in. Essentially, to regulate your nervous system to having that manifestation. And the way to do that is to imagine that you've had that outcome of your manifestation for 2 years. So I want you to re-script what you wrote down at the beginning. So not only is it a random Tuesday in February, but it's a random Tuesday in February where you've had this manifestation for 2 years. So it is so ordinary that your body doesn't even barely react, okay? It's so ordinary that your nervous system isn't excited, isn't scared, isn't anxious because it's such a big manifestation. It's actually just kind of like, oh yeah, this is just what we do. This is how we live our life because we've had it for 2 years. We've had that money for 2 years. We've been in the dream relationship for 2 years now. So re-script what you wrote in the basic section, but do it 2 years ahead. So you haven't just got it. You haven't just had it for a bit, or it's like, this is what I would probably feel like. Imagine you've had it for 2 years and do exactly the same exercise of all your senses are used. And just a typical Tuesday in February, what does that day look like when you've had this for 2 years? And see how that sits with your nervous system. Because the real key to manifesting quickly and accurately is actually making your nervous system feel safe enough to hold that manifestation. Because without it feeling safe, it will not be able to call it in. And if it does, it will not be able to hold on to it. So that money you call in for your financial manifestation, if your nervous system doesn't feel safe, you will try subconsciously to get rid of that money so quickly, it is insane. So maybe you've been manifesting money and it's been coming into you. You've been seeing a lot of abundance in that area, but somehow you're still broke. Somehow you got loads of parking tickets that you had to spend that money on, or your dishwasher broke, or whatever it is. That is kind of your nervous system signaling to the universe that it cannot hold it. It doesn't want it because it doesn't know what to do with that abundance, because it doesn't feel safe and regulated in that situation. And all our nervous system wants to do is keep us safe. In a relationship sense, it can look like sabotaging or pushing people away or picking at little problems in the relationship which aren't really there, or making excuses as to why they're not quite the right person for you. So the trick is here really to essentially imagine you've had this manifestation for so long, and 2 years is a great period to imagine this. So imagine you've had it for so long that it just feels ordinary. It's the normalization of what you want, but you have to practice the feeling of normalization for your nervous system to feel that it's safe to hold it and safe to call it in. It is a practice, and do it every day. Reread the script that you've written for when you've had the manifestation for 2 years. Reread it every morning. Remind yourself what that normality feels like. Yeah, there might be some differences to your normality now, which is fine, but the trick is to essentially dupe your body into thinking and your nervous system into thinking that this is just totally normal. This is just how you go about it. And then you start to embody that normality, that 2 year normality. And trust me, that manifestation will be called in like that. Okay? Great. So let's do a summary. So we've gone through the basics, which I'm pretty sure if you're here, you know already. So we're talking about being really specific in what we want and just keeping it focused on 1 or 2 key areas in our life. Then we're talking about scripting. Okay? So we script in all that detail. Then we talk about embodiment. So it's about walking through the world with that feeling of you having the manifestation. And then the 3 superchargers of manifestation. So delusion or audacity, aim high. Let's not cap ourselves. Let's not be small, okay? This is our dream life we're wanting. We're not asking for this. We're asking for this because this is what we deserve. Number 2, the element of surprise. Keep the universe on its toes. If you want to be different, you've got to do things differently, okay? Then the third one is all about having a regulated, calm nervous system. And we do that by imagining our manifestation and as if we've had it for 2 years. So it is so completely ordinary that you wouldn't even believe, that your nervous system doesn't even react. It's just so ordinary. So redo that scripting we spoke about at the beginning, but write it as if you'd had that manifestation for 2 years in the present tense, okay? And remember, the key thing about manifestation, you don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. So you need to be that manifestation. You need to walk through life as that person that has had it for 2 years. Okay? Brilliant. I hope this has been really useful. I would love to hear in the comments below what you're trying to manifest, how you get on with these extra techniques to supercharge it, and any other thoughts you have on the episode, or if you needed me to go in more details on the basics of manifestation. As with all my episodes, take what you need, leave the rest, and I look forward to seeing you soon.